Do you know how to say these expressions in Spanish? Unbeknownst to me, needless to say, settle scores. If not, stick around for today's translation exercise and we'll find out together. Here's the text that we're going to translate to Spanish together. I just found out some very disappointing news. Unbeknownst to me, my best friend had been dating my ex for months. Needless to say, I felt betrayed, and we are no longer friends. This whole ordeal has wreaked havoc on my life. To be honest, I've been thinking about moving abroad for quite a while, and now seems like the perfect time. I'm not interested in settling scores. I just want to start a new life with people I can trust. If to find out something is enterarse de, and to just do something is acabar de plus a verb in the infinitive, how would we say, I just found out some very disappointing news? Acabo de enterarme de una noticia muy decepcionante. Remember, we have acabar de plus a verb in the infinitive. This verb is reflexive, so we have to use the appropriate personal pronoun. Acabo de enterarme de una noticia muy decepcionante. Decepcionante, of course, is disappointing. And in Spanish, they say una noticia. But in English, news is non-countable, so we just say some very disappointing news. I just found out some very disappointing news. Acabo de enterarme de una noticia muy decepcionante. If unbeknownst to me is sin que yo lo supiera, and to date someone is salir con alguien, how would we say, unbeknownst to me, my best friend had been dating my ex for months? Sin que yo lo supiera, mi mejor amigo había estado saliendo con mi ex durante meses. Sin que yo lo supiera is a fixed expression. It does contain the subjunctive, so just remember that supiera is the past imperfect subjunctive. Mi mejor amigo, pretty straightforward. Había estado saliendo con mi ex. Remember, the had past is the verb haber, había, habías, habíamos, etc. Estado is from the verb estar. Había estado saliendo con mi ex. Had been dating my ex. Durante meses. You could also say por meses, but they tend to use durante to say for when you want to show a duration. So 4 months, durante meses. If needless to say is no hace falta decir que, and betrayed is traicionado or traicionada, how would we say, needless to say, I felt betrayed, and we are no longer friends? No hace falta decir que me sentí traicionado y ya no somos amigos. No hace falta decir que, needless to say, I felt betrayed, me sentí traicionado. Here we use the preterite form of the reflexive verb sentirse because we want to talk about how we felt in that moment that we found out the news. So it's a completed event. We use the preterite form for that. And to say that something is no longer the case, we say ya no. It also can be translated as anymore. So ya no somos amigos is we are no longer friends, or it could also be we aren't friends anymore. Of course, in English they mean the same thing, and Spanish as well. If ordeal is calvario, and to wreak havoc is hacer estragos, how would we say, this whole ordeal has wreaked havoc on my life? Todo este calvario ha hecho estragos en mi vida. This whole ordeal, todo este calvario, has from the verb haber, the famous verb haber again. And remember the has past. The had with D past is había, but the have or has past is the has, hemos, etc. So third person would be ha hecho. This whole ordeal has wreaked havoc. Todo este calvario ha hecho estragos en mi vida. This whole ordeal has wreaked havoc on my life. And if to move in the sense of relocate is trasladarse, and abroad is el extranjero, how would we say, to be honest, I've been thinking about moving abroad for quite a while, and now seems like the perfect time. Para ser sincero, llevo bastante tiempo pensando en trasladarme al extranjero, y ahora parece el momento perfecto. Okay, obviously we have a lot going on here. Many of you probably say para ser honesto or honesta. That's okay, but I've heard a lot of natives use sincero in this case, so I tend to stick with that one because it's never been disputed. I've had one or two people tell me that para ser honesto didn't sound right on a particular occasion, but no one has ever disputed sincero, so I tend to stick with that one to express to be honest. Para ser sincero, of course, sincera. This other construction is very interesting. You can use llevar plus a period of time to say that something has been going on or has been happening for that period of time. So here we have llevo bastante tiempo pensando. So it means I've been thinking, right? I've been thinking about relocating or moving for quite a while, right? I've been thinking about moving abroad for quite a while. Llevo bastante tiempo pensando en trasladarme al extranjero. And this is a very handy construction. It's very common in Spanish. So if you wanted to say something like, I've been living here for 10 years, you would say, llevo 10 años viviendo aquí. So it's llevar plus a period of time plus another verb in the gerund form. That is the ando or yendo form, right? If you wanted to say, I've been studying Spanish for 5 years, llevo 5 años estudiando español. So you see how that works. And of course, the second part of the sentence, y ahora parece el momento perfecto. That's pretty straightforward. Parecer is to seem, and el momento perfecto, the perfect time. If to settle scores or to get even is ajustar cuentas, and to trust is confiar en, how would we say, I'm not interested in settling scores. I just want to start a new life with people I can trust. No me interesa ajustar cuentas. Solo quiero empezar una nueva vida con gente en la que pueda confiar. So obviously we have a lot going on here as well. We use the verb interesar, which functions just like the verb gustar, which means we have to use the third person conjugation along with the appropriate indirect object pronoun to say who is doing the action. So it's I'm not interested. We could have also used the structure estoy interesado, interesada, right? And said no estoy interesado en ajustar cuentas. That's perfectly acceptable as well. The solo quiero empezar una nueva vida is pretty straightforward. Con gente en la que pueda confiar. Because the verb for to trust is confiar in, and in is a preposition, we cannot end a sentence in Spanish with a preposition. Therefore, we must change the structure to accommodate that grammar rule. And what we literally have to say is, with people in whom I can trust. Con gente en la que pueda confiar. The la in the la que refers to la gente. We have to use pueda, the subjunctive form, because there's some uncertainty, right? We don't know if these people exist, and so we cannot say puedo. We have to use the subjunctive to show that degree of uncertainty. And a bit more about this structure. Let's say we were talking about finding a new team, right? If I wanted to say I wanted to start a new life with a new team, if I was changing sports teams or something. Team is el equipo, right? And so it would be in el que, right? Because then the el would refer to el equipo. So that's how that structure works. No me interesa ajustar cuentas. Solo quiero empezar una nueva vida con gente en la que pueda confiar. And now we can throw it all together. Acabo de enterarme de una noticia muy decepcionante. Sin que yo lo supiera, mi mejor amigo había estado saliendo con mi ex durante meses. No hace falta decir que me sentí traicionado y ya no somos amigos. Todo este calvario ha hecho estragos en mi vida. Para ser sincero, llevo bastante tiempo pensando en trasladarme al extranjero y ahora parece el momento perfecto. No me interesa ajustar cuentas. Solo quiero empezar una nueva vida con gente en la que pueda confiar. Thanks for watching. If you found this video at all helpful, please give it a thumbs up so that YouTube shares it with more people. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.